Hello, my name is Lizzie. Each week I'm bringing along a different origami fold, and that's to inspire you to do something beautiful for yourself, to give yourself some time out and discover how much joy is possible through simply folding paper. So recently I've been bringing along a lovely marine feel. It's summer here at the moment, and so thinking about making our own little origami holidays. So I've previously shown you how to make a boat and a prawn, which is fun. And this week I'm bringing along something different, a shell. Now this is rather special because actually this is the first time I've had a go at inventing something. You'll find there are other shells out there and that's completely fair enough, but this case I imagined it myself, and I've been finding amazing little fossils which have been in paths, like in little kind of sandy paths, and I've been amazed to find these beautiful little shells. These will be at least 65 million years old. Quite mind-blowing. And they have such strong little folds, can you see? So the one that I've designed, it's inspired by fossils, by the seas over 65 million years ago. And I will show you how to make one of your own. So a little kind of scallopy thing. I hope you're going to enjoy this. And they're rather nice because it's got a little bit at the back so you can hang them up as well. And again, gives you a nice holiday feel. I hope you'll enjoy this. So all of these films I've made dedicated to my colleagues in a hospital at UCLH, and it's to encourage staff to have to make sure that they give themselves time for self-care. Often people who care for others don't necessarily give themselves time at all to care for themselves, and it's really important during these times. But these films are very much for everybody. We're all finding it hard in isolation, and isolation from others is the right thing at the moment to keep each other safe and to show you care. But you have to, I think, do things to keep yourself happy and to keep connected. And I think hopefully origami is just a beautiful way to do that. It's been so lovely to hear from people in this way saying it's helped. So I'm so delighted. It's helped me to do something each week and to bring a bit of motivation. We all need to do that. And I think doing things together is a lovely thing to do. So we're going to get started. Each week I show you using just normal paper that we'd have around, and so I'm showing with A4, but if you live in another area of the world, letter is great. All I'm showing you is the principle, and I think it's important because you may feel that you need special paper for origami. You do not. You can use any paper at all, and so this is to empower you that you don't need anything special. And even things like little bits of magazine or newspaper, they're lovely as well. And if you're using plain paper, maybe you can decorate it. I think probably for the shell it's quite nice just plain, but you can decorate it. Shells can be gorgeous colours, so feel free to get out your pens that make it unique in yours. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to make a square. I think what we'll do actually is effectively divide this paper into two, because otherwise it's a huge shell. This is pretty big. That's from an A4 piece. I'll show you a simpler one. Right, here goes. So directing it down, first of all we're going to make a square. This is something we do each time, but in itself is calming the gentle repetition. So it's taking the corner and lining it up, keeping it all nice and straight. And well done to all of those I've heard of from people who've been saying that they've been doing this regularly. Well done. Pat on your back for doing that, because it's easy to say, isn't it, but to actually stick with things is impressive. So we're going to get rid of this rectangle at the side. So if you turn it over and then pull back so you can get rid of that rectangle. Oh, I think I'm showing you a giant one, aren't I? Never mind. I was going to show you how to do it from two halves of the paper. Well, I guess this is bigger, so it's a bit clearer. But I would recommend actually doing this in half the size piece of paper. So tearing it in half and doing the same thing. Right, I got sidetracked there. So we've already got a nice diagonal. That's great. We're going to start, first of all, the principle I would suggest is shaping your shell, first of all. So if we maybe fold up, it's what's called, I think it's called a judgment fold. So it's kind of, you decide, it's not a precise thing. And a lot of things with animals, requires that judgment folding, so it ends up being a little bit unique. So all I'm doing is sort of flattening off the bottom of the shell, and then I want to slightly curve the shell. So if you also fold at the side as well. So you've done the middle one and then that. Now we also want to do the side too. I would recommend, it's a strange one making it up yourself actually, because you suddenly go, oh, what am I doing? So I suppose I'm making it up as I go along, which is fair enough. But even though it's a big piece of paper, I'm going to show you how to do it in a simple way. So what we've done is we've folded up the bottom, and then we're beginning to round it off. Now you want it all to be symmetrical, so the reason I've done it on one side is because then we can copy it on the other. So if we then fold it over, and we want to, of course, get the same identical folds. So it's quite easy if you've done it on one side, maybe then fold back. So actually folding it over there and folding over there. I'm afraid my method for making the shell is then just to tuck all these things away to the back. We don't need to see them do. So opening it up, and now we've got a nice mirror image, and I think that that symmetry is important with origami. It's also what we find quite beautiful. Okay, so we've done the sides there. The next thing is the top. Now I would regard this as a pinch rather than a fold all the way across, because I think it's rather nice if we have it a little bit curvy at the top. Can you see? Rather than a sharp one. So again, it's a bit of a judgment. So again, keeping it nice and level, and go for a pinch rather than the whole lot. Now that pinch point will be the point where you get all the radiating lines. So our next step is to fold from there, from the middle of that point, down to here, the top of that, and that's sort of defining the area that you're going to do radiating lines from. So it's probably easier for you to do it on this side as you're doing. And at least then this is, again, it's symmetrical because you've matched up the sides of your shell. Again, take your time. I think origami is most calming when you just go slowly. We're in no rush, we're giving ourselves time out. So again, going from that middle there to the top there. I'll be very interested to see your shells. It's been rather fun coming up with one. I was so inspired by these fossils, and it's so clear how it's folded as well. It felt like nature is the inspiration here. So at least 65 million years old, those fossils. Cretaceous period, when the seas were high, it was warmer, there was lots of sea life. Lovely. So what we're next going to do is we're going to do a fold to divide up this area, and I would recommend, again, keeping it this way round. We're going to take this line and line it up with the middle, and it's so that we divide it in half. Hope I'm defining this okay. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the side and I'm going to line this up with this middle line. I will put it down for a moment while I do this. Can you see? I'm lining that up. Again, take your time. Try and make sure it's always going through the middle. Right, the important thing, which I should point out, is not to do any lines in this area, this side bit of the shell or the top, because I think it's rather nice if it's got that lovely curviness to it rather than adding in pleats. So you can see all I've done is that line from there down to there to that midpoint, and it's the same again on this side. So we're going to take this line and we're going to line it up to the middle. And again, don't put any lines through the top or the sides. If you have already, so be it, but ideally not, I think. Again, take your time. So this bigger one, you could actually do a lot more pleats in it if you wanted, but I'm going to show you the simplest one. So now I think we could turn it over to the other side. And you can see we've got a nice set of radiating lines there. It's already looking pretty. So these are all mountain folds, so mountain that go up, and we want to add in some valley folds in between. So this should be fairly simple. Again, just doing the folds in these areas. It looks a bit like a fan shell at the moment, doesn't it? So if you take each one in turn and you want to divide it in half, so for example here, I'm going to take this line and I'm going to bring it up to that one, and that should start to add in your amount of fold. And this is surprising, it does take quite a bit of concentration actually, but you know what, that's the great thing of origami, encouraging you to concentrate and to take your time. Can you see I'm to carefully do that, and again just folding in that area. And it's a little bit tougher for the ends because you've got the extra folded areas there. So can you see it's added a nice little valley, and the same here, and it doesn't matter which order, all you're doing is dividing up each of these areas. So again, I'm going to take this line and line up to there. And again, just being very patient with yourself. I think origami is all about being patient and persistent, and with that attitude, good things will happen. I think it's all about a good attitude to learning, really, to believing in yourself, not giving up, and you feel a whole lot better for that attitude too. Wonderful things are possible. So can you see I'm adding these nice zigzags, and as it's such a big piece of paper you could do extra pleats, but you can see the principle. And I think anyway this simple is nice. So again we're going to divide up this area. Each one in turn. It's like a little fan, isn't it? There we go. And then that final area here I want to divide. And then we're fairly close, but we've got just a few more things to do. Not far off. Right. So can you see we've got a lovely base of our shell. It's already a lovely thing. Next, I've managed to keep this quite nice and smooth. I think that's nice. Now I want to give it a little bit of a sort of a line here. Can you see? I've given it a top, curved over at the top, but also at that little side line too. So I think maybe the first thing to do is to sort of curve over. For me, I'm personally not folding it because I really like it having a little bit of a curve. So I'm thinking of this more as a sculpture really. So it's a little bit that shape. And then I'm pretty much going to try to line up this with this, and it's to add a little fold there. So we've got the top of that. Again, I'm going to have to be a little bit patient. Oh, it really is curving around here. But I guess taking that side, it's a bit strange when you made it up yourself. You feel like, what am I meant to do? Well, I suppose I'm the one who can decide what to do. Sometimes that feels harder, doesn't it? But can you see I've added in an extra line there, which gives it a little bit more shape. So again, this is the sort of top I decided on, and then bringing it over. So the top, and I'm lining it up with this. And it's all a little bit judgment really. So it just gives it a little bit more shape. There we go. I think that's nice. And then maybe curving it round at the back. Because then you could just hang it over something, hang it up. So hopefully, I hope that's worked for you. Make your own shell. Maybe it can go along with your beach of prawns and a boat, and we'll see what other marine things we add to it. But I hope that's worked for you. That's been a first. It's been very exciting, and do feel free to play with paper and see what happens. Or sometimes if things aren't going the way that you're expecting it to, that's all right. You may come up with something new as well. Most of all, just enjoy being playful with it. I think if you're doing a design from others, or if you're doing anything yourself, it's all discovery, and just enjoy that feeling of something new and exciting in your hands, all from paper and a little bit of encouragement. So I wish you every success with the folding, and there's plenty more other films to check out. I'm also doing these folds live on Wednesdays at 2, so that's something else you can join. It's rather nice being with others as well. So take care, enjoy the folding, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.